Chalhoub, we are committed to reaching net zero emission by 2040 across our entire value chain. Our science-based targets have been validated by SBTi. So over 90% of our emissions come upstream and downstream activities. So it's basically our scope 3. That means that we can only meet our targets if we work closely with our partners. So today is about sharing insights, identifying what's working and addressing the real challenges we all face in implementing sustainability across the region. So we have designed the agenda to be clear, practical, and collaborative. So here's a quick agenda, overview of this agenda and what can we expect from the session. So we'll begin with an overview of the evolving ESG and regulatory landscape in the Middle East and globally. Then we will hear from Adolfo Dominguez, who will share a brandless success story in circularity and sustainable retail. After that, we'll open the floor to you through live polls so we can collectively reflect on regional implementation challenges and opportunities. We'll also briefly introduce our upcoming biodiversity impact assessment initiative. And at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A, so feel free to type your questions directly into the chat throughout the session. And we will invite all of you, our partners, to a complementary advisory sessions to support your brand sustainability goals. So let's get started. So to begin with, I'd like to welcome Farrukh Shad. So welcome, Farrukh. Farrukh is the head of sustainability business at Schneider Electric, and Farrukh is responsible for Asia, Pacific, India, and Middle East and African region. He's with us in the studio today, and so thank you again for joining.
Thanks for having me, Florence. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
And we've been a partner with Schneider Electric for a long time. So Farrukh will walk us through key trends in climate policy, ESG reporting requirements, and what they mean for companies operating specifically in the Middle East. So over to you, Farrukh.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. I represent the sustainability consulting and advisory arm of Schneider Electric. I'm taking care of Asia Pacific, India, and Middle East Africa region. So here of course, we have set up ourselves in Middle East. So here I am going to talk about how the regulatory framework is shifting, what are the policy shift, the market readiness, and some of the corporate actions that's happening in the GCC. So let me start by giving you a view on why ESG matters now in the Middle East. So first of all, UAE and Saudi Arabia are driving long-term sustainability through national visions, like UAE has the Vision 2031 and Net Zero 2050. And there's a strong alignment in Middle East executives and visionary leadership to prioritize sustainability in business strategy. Similarly, the regulatory framework is evolving to support ESG integration region-wide. The framework such as UAE Climate Law 2024, which has recently last week come into effect, and Circular Economy Policy 2031 institutionalized the green governance model. These policies provide regulatory clarity and embed sustainability into the national development agenda, right? So the region is strengthening, and we see that the global ESG role through alliance and organizations like UNFCCC and IRENA, and hosting platforms like COP28, which was an absolute success. So the UAE and KSA, the Saudi Arabia, are emerging as the regional hubs for climate diplomacy and innovation. Now, Saudi has a flagship project. You have the Vision 2030 from the Crown Prince. And of course, in UAE, you have afforestation programs, which is supporting large-scale ecosystem development as well. Moving on, just to give you a little bit of an insight, the new legislation makes the UAE the first, and I'm talking about the UAE Climate Law, which got effective on 30th of May. It makes UAE the first in the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa region, to establish a legal framework for climate resilience, emissions accountability, and regional leadership ahead of the COP29. Now, personally, what I think, this law is a very bold move and a very progressive move in the UAE climate leadership. and by monitoring the carbon emissions, by making sure that we are moving forward, the UAE is setting a compelling example for the rest of the region as well. The significance of this law lies in the formalization of the country's climate commitment through legally binding legislation. Of course, this could include setting clear emissions targets for major sectors like energy, like transport as well, that directly support the commitments outlined in the NDC. Moving forward, what is Saudi Arabia Vision 2030? So it's a strategic plan to reduce the oil dependence, diversify the economy, and enhance the public service in health, education, infrastructure, recreation, and tourism, right? So the whole idea with Saudi is targeting to be net zero by 2060, and it is focusing on expanding renewable energy, promoting environmental conservation, and building smart, sustainable cities. Now, all the projects, the giga projects that are happening in Saudi are focused on 2040, 2050, which are by nature net zero as well. And basically, what Saudi is doing is boosting the non-oil revenue and empowering the local social development as well. So ESG integration is a key topic. There's a voluntary ESG reporting right now, encouraged by Tadawul, which is the stock exchange, with alignment to global standards like GRI, like SASB, as well as TCFD, to attract responsible investment and also to bring and enhance more and more transparency. Moving forward, what's happening in the wider Middle East? Now, mandatory reporting schemes have already gone out and published in Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar for various scopes. So in Kuwait, you see voluntary ESG guidelines introduced. In Bahrain, you see the ESG reporting from 2025 is mandatory as well for the listed companies, for the banks, for the insurers, and for the investment firms. We see a surge in green and sustainable finance beyond Saudi and UAE. The broader region is experiencing that. In Oman, you already see sustainable finance framework is launched, and in Qatar as well. There are $2.5 billion dollars in green bond issuances as well. So overall, in the wider Middle East, the momentum is there. Of course, it is spearheaded by UAE and Saudi, but the momentum is there moving forward. Now, what to watch for? What is the regulation watch? What's emerging? Of course, as I mentioned, the UAE climate law, Saudi Arabia Vision 2030. These are game changers for corporate climate accountability. All entities have to measure, report, and reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, while legal obligations replacing voluntary action. Initially, it was voluntary action. It has now moved into mandatory. In Saudi Arabia, the Green Financing Framework, it's a fund which projects and achieve net zero by 2060. The Green Bond Principles and Capital Market Association as well. There's more and more emphasis on that. So again, the labor law reforms and protections, it's not only on the E part, but the S and the G part as well. And the human rights and social development are moving both in Saudi Arabia and UAE at the same pace as well. So it's not only on the environment, it's the whole ESG topic that is being covered. On circularity, key topic, both UAE and Saudi Arabia are shifting to circular economy models. Circular economy is in action. Their flagship initiatives like Saudi Investment Recycling Company, Dubai Can, and reverse vending machines are driving circularity in these countries. There's a focus on certain sectors like manufacturing, food, infrastructure. We see that, and transport in Saudi Arabia, so energy as well, which are paving the way for more resource efficient economics. Their ambitious national goals. Saudi Arabia wants to target 82% diversion by 2035, 82% diversion by 2035, and UAE is aiming for 75% by 2030 through integrated recycling, recovery, and waste to energy programs. There's a huge emphasis which is going on product labeling, which has been a big part, and packaging control, especially in the UAE. In the last 18 months, since the COP, there's been a lot of focus on that. And UAE has mandated accurate quantity labeling, which was one of the key topics, and a clear consumer information to make sure that the greenwashing is reduced dramatically. So there's a lot of work going on circularity as well as on product sustainability as well. Now, what are the common challenges? I explained to you what's happening in terms of regulatory framework, how the vision is driving everything, and what are some of the key topics, some of the key challenges. Data availability, quality, and standardization. This is a significant hurdle still. There's a lack of robust, standardized, and reliable ESG data infrastructure. It makes it challenging for companies to accurately measure, track, and report the performance for stakeholders and investors to compare performance across different organizations and different markets. So that's the first one, which is key for any evolving market. This is one of the key topics which always comes forward. The second one, which is recognized, is on talent gap and internal expertise. There is a pressing shortage of skilled professionals with the necessary expertise and knowledge and capabilities to drive sustainability strategies and implement effective ESG practices as well. Now, there are sustainability related roles. They're new in the region. The good news is that you see that they are CSOs, Chief Sustainability Officers for all large corporates, but when they go about building their teams, it's still new. And universities and training centers are emerging, but they are not emerged yet. So of course, there is a gap over there. It takes time in any country which is coming up with that. It takes time to bridge this gap. It requires businesses to invest in upskilling the existing workforce as well, which we in Schneider, of course, have gone through that path. So I can talk later about it. The regulatory framework, consistency and harmonization. Now, as I explained, individual countries, of course, are moving forward. How they converge. A very good example of how things have converged in Europe is how EU has driven that. How they converge the framework in a broader GCC or even in the Middle East, North Africa region. That's something that could be one of the key challenges as well as an opportunity moving forward. Lastly, the perception of ESG needs to shift. It needs to shift from only being a compliance exercise to be a value driver for businesses. Many firms are still not fully understanding how they manage and understand the intrinsic business value for ESG. And it's not only a compliance obligation that they go with. And overcoming this requires tangible benefits that need to come, which goes back to point number one on data availability, quality, and standardization. And all of this, and the ROI on ESG needs to be built in as well, which is one of the key topics, and it's one of the key challenges still across the Gulf and the Middle East. Opportunities to lead, and here I talk about it because, of course, there are significant opportunities for brands to lead in circularity and product sustainability within GCC, within Middle East, especially within Saudi Arabia and UAE. And first mover advantage can shape and influence policy, which is one of the key topics. Early adopters can actively engage with regulatory bodies and industry associations to provide input on the emerging standards. So there's always advantage of moving first in terms of sector, in terms of industry. Secondly, the access to green incentives and green financing is available. So early movers, of course, will be able to capitalize on that. I see there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of course, KPIs in the finance sector on green bonds and on green financing, and I think that could be leveraged very well. Brands can gain competitive advantage and gain market leadership because, of course, there's demand coming from the consumer side as well on the topic, and largely leverage the advisory sessions and partnerships. The key is partnership. I always say, sustainability is a team sport. Sustainability cannot be one alone. So you need collaboration, you need partnership to fast track progress, which is one of the key topics as well, if you want to lead as a brand on ESG. Now, in Schneider Electric, we have two principles to lead, to encourage and lead ESG by example. First, you do well to do good, which means you as a company, you as a brand need to perform, which is the foundation for doing good. The business needs to do well, and all the ESG dimensions should be covered in it as well. So as a business, you need to do well if you want to do good to the planet and to the larger world. That's number one. Number two is we need to bring everybody along. It's a transformation program. It's a transformation program like any other program. We need to make sure that we have our people on board. The leadership is on board and fully understanding where we are going with that. The culture, sustainability needs to be embedded in the culture of the organization. It's not a nice word. It's not a gimmick. It needs to be built in the value system, in the model, in the culture. And lastly, you need to get all stakeholders on board. And when I say stakeholders, suppliers on board as well, because they're super critical. As you can understand, For Schneider, more than 90% of our emissions are in scope 3. How do you bring all those suppliers along as well? So you need to activate the whole ecosystem. You cannot do this alone. You need to bring everybody along in this journey. So these are the two key principles of Schneider: do well to do good, and you bring everybody along. That's it from my side. Thank you, Florence.
Thank you, Farrukh. But stay with us because
Yes.
we still have. So very insightful. So what I'm getting from what you've just said is that yes, we are in a very dynamic space. The regulatory landscape is changing very fast. There are still some challenges like the data availability, the talent gap, the importance to upskill. The importance of shifting our mindset from compliance to really seeing the value of what we do. You mentioned many times share responsibility, partnership, team sport, and that's exactly what we do. And thank you again for all the ones who are online with us today, because that's we're trying to build a momentum. We need to have a systemic approach and work also on the culture to make sure it's completely embedded and not just another task to be done. So thank you so much for this insight. Thank you so much. So now we're gonna move to the third part of this program, and I would like to hear one of our partner brand that is leading by example. So please join me in welcoming Antonio Road. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Antonio,
well.
You are the Director of Sustainability at Adolfo Dominguez, and you will share how the brand is driving sustainable innovation from AI shopping assistant and rental services to in-store energy improvement and B Corp certification. So thank you so much, Antonio, for being with us today. And over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Great. Perfect. Well, hi all. It's a pleasure being with you. My name is Antonio. I'm the Director of Sustainability of Adolfo Dominguez. Adolfo Dominguez is a Spanish brand. We have 49 years old, so next year we will have our 50th anniversary. We have we have 376 stores across the world. Our main markets are Spain, France, Mexico, Japan, and we are known mostly in these markets as a what we can call a conscious fashion brand. Particularly in Europe, we are living a crisis time with the fast fashion, ultra fast fashion. Now the fast fashion, it seems, is the good guy in the room, and now we are facing the threat of these ultra fast fashion brands that really are decreasing the value of fashion, not just the economic value of fashion, but even the emotional value of fashion. And in Adolfo Dominguez, we strive for to make fashion valuable to our customers by explaining them what is behind the garments. So I would like to start by sharing a quick video, a short video of our founder, Adolfo Dominguez. I hope you can hear it well.
Nadie fabricaba el lino más que unos cuantos artesanos perdidos. Cuajo, llevó tiempo, porque la gente había olvidado incluso que se arrugaba. Pero tuvo un éxito espectacular.
Para mí el lino es un símbolo, el de los materiales más sostenibles, no requiere químicos.
Depende de la lluvia de cada año, no tiene más.
Somos conscientes de no ser ni remotamente perfectos en el camino de la sostenibilidad. Es muy difícil, tiene un coste elevado, tiene una complejidad cada vez más elevada.
Sim, é verdade. São os processos manuais mais lentos, menos industriais, certificações, muitas exigências que tornam, por vezes, o produto mais caro.
The process really matters, starting from hand picking and then going into the fabric and then coming to us. And then, you know, we kind of like touch it, experiment. When they were doing the linens, they were also taking care of finishings, basically, and they really paid a lot of attention to it. And that's why it's so drapey and it's soft, qualities and everything.
Hija, compra caro que somos pobres. Me parece, nunca lo había oído, me parece un sentido común descomunal de entender que es que la calidad es así. No solo poner prendas, ropa de moda, sino también poner ideas de moda. No es si estamos consumiendo una fibra más o menos sostenible, es la cantidad de cosas que consumimos y que nos quepa la duda como consumidores de si esto es lo correcto y si a lo mejor no deberíamos simplemente de reducir, apostar por menos y más calidad.
Honrar la vida de las personas que están detrás de las prendas que producimos, honrar la tierra que nos da las fibras con las que producimos nuestras prendas.
Pero es un lujo, eso, es decir, pasarte 8 años con un vaquero hasta que aparezca gastado y roto. Pues dices tú, pues ha estado 8 años contigo.
Quizás yo no necesito más y desde luego el planeta no necesita que yo consuma más.
Convivir con las cosas un poco más. Ya la vida es efímera y corta. Yo prefiero una relación con las cosas así.
So, thank you. So basically, I mean, we started by speaking about linen because it's the signature fabric that we use in house. We use much more linen than any other company. Linen is the most sustainable material in terms of water use, in terms of chemical use. And we are very famous in Spain because of that very specific topic, but really it helped to build the narrative of the brand. So the sustainability is really included in the DNA. And I always say the same thing when it comes to the fashion industry. What drives the impact of a fashion company is the amount of times our customer use our clothes. There is no other single factor that has a higher influence on the carbon footprint of our industry. That's why we really focus our sustainability strategy, but not also, I don't like, and we don't speak about a sustainability strategy, we speak about business strategy, because we want our customers to pay the price of our clothes, and therefore they need to trust that the clothes that we put on the market, that we sell to them, they have quality, and we fulfill that promise. It's not just about durability. You can have the most durable shirt in your body that if you don't like how it fits you, if you don't like the material because it makes you sweat and you smell, quality understood as a broad range of attributes. And this is what from Adolfo Dominguez we are working. We strive for natural materials, cotton, wool, leather. These sort of materials, we shouldn't forget that we are inherently linked with the Earth, with the planet. We want really to remind to our customers that we are linked to the biological cycles. Basically, we want to teach polyester maybe only in some and polyamide maybe in some parts of the collection where polyamide is good for the functionality because it makes the dress or the garment nicer, so the customer can put it more. We can use there, but if not, we strive for natural fabrics because we believe that is the way by which our garments are most used. And then innovation. Last year we partnered with a startup called Pyratex that allows us to put different innovative fabrics in the market. So, for example, fabrics that allow your body not to sweat or that help your skin to be better, to fight bacteria, etc. So we are also evolving in terms of the functionality of our garments through innovation. Then we are also known for for opening a dialogue with the society, as we said before. Is very important that we fight this almost cultural war, in a sense that we communicate to our customers that garments, they have an inherent value. We released 2 collections in the year. We are now designing for 2027 almost. So it's a slow fashion business model, because we really need to make our customers understand that if a shirt costs $5 or €5, someone is paying the cost, someone or something. So we really need to stop a little bit to tell the story to our customers that there is something behind the garment. There is water that is being used. There are people that has been used, and fashion, as many of you know, fashion industry is one of the most global industry in the world. Behind one jacket, maybe you can find easily 6 countries involved, with a lot of people involved from different cultures, backgrounds, etc. Because we really need to respect all that is behind the garment. So to take back the fashion as a creative work, Besides that, we also we believe we need to explore different business models. So, for example, in our case, we have launched a renting business model in Spain. We really believe that renting for some specific products of our collection is something that will help us differentiate in the market. Then, with all these services that you can see on the screen, we, for example, help our customer to we help them assessing based on their preferences what garments they will wear more. So based on AI, we allow them to do a selection of the garments that they will rent more. We also do live sessions where we assess our customers to wear the clothes that they, based on their preferences. So all of these technologies goes towards helping them to choose better, to choose something that, as I said, that they will use. Basically, do not buy just for the sake of buying. I think this is the main message and the main value proposition that our brand has, linked to naturality, linked to quality, etc. And all this narrative is also, of course, reflected in our stores. Our stores are made with materials that really, like the good wine, that time passes and they get more beautiful. So, for example, we do not use paintings. We use materials that the pass of the time allow to beautify it. We use biomaterials, as you can see in these pictures, wood, stones, because we really want to, when our customer enters in our store, we want them to feel that they are almost entering into a temple of nature, if you wish, because we really need to make them feel this connection with nature, that fashion is nature, that the materials, the fabrics are coming from the nature. Besides that, when it comes to carbon, this is the main topic of this conversation. We have electricity monitoring systems, of course. We have all the LED illuminate lightning. So we also have all these things in our store. And of course, as you said before, we became B Corp this year. We are the biggest textile fashion company in Spain to become a B Corp certified company. We are one of the biggest in the world in terms of market capitalization and employees and other variables that you can choose. This for us is a great honor, but of course a responsibility. We really our business is here to, of course, making money, but also to create a positive impact in the society. And we do believe that by linking the world, by linking nature, the planet, creativity with fashion, we are striving for a positive impact. We want to really make our customers know that, remember that the jacket that they have in their hands has a value. There is people behind. There are resources that are being taken to produce that. So this is our business proposal. As you said also before, it's very important that sustainability is at the core of the business strategy. And Adolfo Dominguez is an inherent part of our DNA for almost 50 years. So yeah, with that, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Very much. I like the way the brand is using innovation for product development, material at the service of the customers, to develop new circular model within your operation, but also customer-facing business model, and the way you also included into the eco-design of your stores. So thank you and congratulations for the B Corp certification, which we all know is very hard to get. So thank you very much to share this experience with, this model with us, and which is a great and powerful example of how sustainability can be both creative and commercially smart. So now thank you again, Antonio. So now we are going to open the floor to all our participants. So we have prepared a series of live poll questions to better understand where you are on your sustainability journey. So after each question, we'll pause to reflect and share some thoughts from our side. So I think we are ready for the first question. There will be, I believe, 5 questions. So the first one, and you should see it, I guess, in your chat. So does your brand have a full sustainability strategy with clear objectives that have been placed or that's been in place for over 3 years? So that's the first questions. So we'll leave you few also participating.
Oh, I'm super keen to see the insights on this one.
And I'll leave you the floor to comment
Absolutely.
it. So we have the answers. So yes, 80% of our participants today have had a sustainability strategy for over 3 years. So we are speaking to obviously some experts here. Yes. So what's your insight?
See, my take on this one. Most of the global brands do. They have a sustainability strategy with very clear objectives. But actually, the local integration is often where the gap comes. Now, how I look at it is a mature strategy is the one that lives beyond a slide deck. And it is embedded in budgets, in KPIs, in team roles, and it's broken down. And where we see real traction, ESG goals are tied to commercial outcomes, where this creates a long-term accountability as well, where they're really linked into what is the commercial outcome of that. And that is the winning sustainability strategy.
Yeah, and it might take a bit more than 3 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a marathon.
It's a marathon for sure. Okay, thank you, and thank you for participating. So we can go now to the second question. Does your brand face challenges implementing sustainability practices in the Middle East? So I guess you gave some element of answers, but maybe this question is specifically for the Middle East. Do you see any challenges, I would say, inherent to the region? So we'll give you a few minutes. Okay. Oh, yes, very good. Very optimistic, and I actually that was my answer as well. So 83% of the participants of today see that yes, there are some challenges, but progress is happening, and I guess that's what we saw also with your presentation, where the regulatory landscape was also evolving. So I think it will have a domino effect. For sure, I mean, for us at Chalhoub, if I can share a bit of our experience, we do see challenges like gaps, many in infrastructure, things like waste management, recycling, access to renewable energy. There are also gaps in policy and regulation, as you were saying, though we see it's driven by UAE and Saudi, and the rest of the region is following, but of course it takes time. There are barriers around circularity. We know that it's a domain which is still not well regulated. There are, when we speak about customer-facing circular model, there are stigma still around second-hand goods, which makes, the pre-loved models and rental model maybe a bit challenging in the region. On top of that, we operate in a high energy environment because of the climate, which makes it harder to meet energy reduction target. But perhaps the biggest challenge is turning global goals into action that works for our region. So we know where we have to go, but we need to localize our action, and we need to push the envelope, and as you were saying, it's a team sport. We need to be more collaborative, dialogue, so create coalitions within the industry, within the retail, the distribution, with mall developers, with other brands, with energy companies like you, with communities as well, with the ministries. So that's the only way, we will accelerate what's already happening. And that's what, in your answer, 83% of you are very optimistic. And that's why collaboration is so important. So we'll go now to the third question. Can you provide emission data for each product? And if not, what are the barriers? So this one is a very challenging question. So for you, in your line of business, can you provide emission data for each and every product?
Yeah, this topic is a evolving topic.
It's evolving,
It's
and
an
I
evolving
think
topic.
exactly.
It's getting there.
Alors that's interesting, and it keeps changing. I'm looking live at the poll live. So I don't know if everyone participated, but so basically we have a tie between so 36%. 33% now are saying no, data collection system are not in place. And 33% are saying there's a lack of supplier transparency. So this constitutes a barrier. Exactly. So I guess the transparency, to your point, 23% are saying that they are working on it.
Yes.
So, but transparency is still a problem, and that's why we have created this supplier engagement, program, because sharing emission data requires alignment between procurement, supply chain, sustainability, our brand partners. Today, much of this is still manual. I mean, including for us, it's very manual, and it's a very resource intensive, to track this data in, as you were saying, in a consistent way, hence the quality data. So I think that's an issue that we are all facing, but we are moving in the right direction.
We're moving.
So the tools are improving. I don't know.
No, there are some really good examples. I can give you an example from Schneider because it's close to heart. We have a program called the Zero Carbon Project. Basically, what we did is we selected our top 1,000 suppliers, which are responsible for 70% of the emissions, and we worked very closely with them to reduce the carbon emissions. And we worked with them on training, orientation, awareness, and started work. And these could be large supplier or small and medium-sized supplier. And how do we work with them on that? And then, of course, create a library of data. So we are able to access that, right? So we see that these are the suppliers which would be largely there for everyone else as well, and we are able to track them. Now, again, it's not a short-term thing. This has been going on for the last at least 4 to 5 years, but it's been super successful. Not easy. Globally speaking, some big retailers in the US saw what we are doing and tried implementing the same thing, and they sought our advisory to implement exactly the same thing as well. Right now in the Middle East, without naming, I can tell you we're working on a project on embodied carbon for the real estate developer. They want to know on their construction sites, they want to understand what is the embodied carbon in all the building materials that they're having. And we just started working on this topic. And I can tell you, it is exciting. It is not there yet, as 23% of the people say.
Yeah.
But it is getting there. So I'm more positive about it that we are at least addressing this topic now.
And so to your point, this is very important because it's not a lack of willingness, it's a lack of maybe having access to this type of methodology. So now at least we know that Schneider is doing it. But you're right, and that's also what we are missing when we engage with our partners. I mean, there's a lot of willingness. It's just how do we do it? How do we approach the so. Fourth question, do you communicate your brand sustainability efforts to customers through store design or in-store experience? That's hello. If I look at the okay. Oh. Okay. It's changing very, very rapidly. So, but I guess the winner is to some extent through select fixtures and campaigns. So again, it's not yes, totally yes, but we are getting there.
Yes.
So.
This is also it's a key ingredient for the new generation of customers. If you see the new generation, they are very keen to go to brands which are sustainable, and that reflects in all types of communication that they do. And in-store design is one of the key ones. And I see that. I mean, I have a daughter and a son, and when I go shopping with them, I see their choices are reflecting store designs and communication in a very big way. So I think that's a generation shift that's happening.
Hence, we need to also make it very obvious in the region where, let's say, there might be a lack of awareness or education around this topic. So yes, indeed, the fact that it can be reflecting through the store design, that there's a storytelling as we were saying with Adolfo Dominguez, through the way the shop is done, etc., is extremely important. So we'll go now to the last question. Do you have a dedicated sustainability team operating in the Middle East? So that's a question, because that's also when, where we were saying we know the global approach, but we need to localize.
Absolutely.
So that question is interesting because it's important also for the team to know the local constraints, the regulations.
The
exactly.
Absolutely. Super needed. Super needed.
Okay. Okay. So the 50% of the participants are saying that sustainability is handled from the global HQ. 18, I'm going to read all results because it's interesting. So 19% are saying that they have a regional team, and 31% that they have a local team. So I guess we are getting there as well, 31%. And again, for me, it's about, even if we know the global strategy, we need experts on the field to.
You need local champions always to give the feedback back into the global team on what works, what doesn't work, to be the eyes and ears. And I think that is because global teams will devise something, but you need to make sure if this is being executed or it's not being executed, and how executionable it is.
Exactly. And if it's adapted, if it's the right pace also, because in time. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. So now we'll go to the next chapter of this program, which is about nature and biodiversity. So I'm pleased to welcome Robert Negru. He's an ecologist and he's a consultant for BioConserve. Welcome, Robert.
Hi, hello. Thank you, Florence, for the introduction and this opportunity. Hi, everyone.
So you will introduce to us today a new biodiversity assessment survey that we are launching in collaboration with our partners. And this initiative is very important for us, basically, because it will help us understand the ecological impact of our collective activities and identify opportunities for improvement. So the floor is yours, Robert. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So hi, everyone. My name is Robert Negru, and I'm a senior ecologist at BioConserve. I'm here today to share a bit about how biodiversity and net zero goals can and should be addressed together, ultimately. To help set the stage, I'll start with a quick overview of who we are as BioConserve and what I'll be covering today. Then I'll explain a bit about the critical connection between biodiversity and climate change and why that must be tackled together. I'll show you a concrete example of the UAE that highlights the power of nature-based solutions and looking specifically at mangrove restoration. And finally, I'll explain how we're supporting Chalhoub Group to build a science-based biodiversity strategy, including how you can get involved in the upcoming data collection phase. All in all, the presentation will take about roughly 10 minutes, and I hope it gives you a clear picture of how nature fits into Chalhoub's wider sustainability ambitions. I cannot see the presentation, but I hope the next slide is on. Okay.
Robert, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, okay. Then I'll share my screen. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So this was the introduction. Now, allow me to talk a bit about ourselves. At BioConserve, we help companies around the world bring biodiversity and nature-based solutions into their sustainability strategies, supply chains, and climate goals. We do this by combining field ecology, impact assessments, and long-term planning. Our work covers a wide range of ecosystems from terrestrial, coastal, marine, and freshwater, and we align with international standards like those from the IFC and World Bank. We delivered projects across the Middle East, Europe, and Asia Pacific. So the topic we'll look at today are both globally relevant and locally grounded. One thing we always emphasize is that biodiversity and climate change are deeply connected. You can't achieve lasting climate goals without protecting and restoring ecosystems, and vice versa. Forests, wetlands, and mangroves, these ecosystems don't just store carbon. They regulate rainfall, prevent erosion, and provide resilience to extreme weather. But climate change is now impacting these same ecosystems. Global warming alters weather patterns and water cycles, fragments habitats, and shifts species distribution. This weakens both climate resilience and biodiversity. That is why we need an integrated approach. Protecting ecosystems help us capture more carbon, adapt to climate risk, and unlock co-benefits for people and nature. These synergies make biodiversity a climate solution and not just a conservation priority. Now then, let's look at a real-world example of how biodiversity and climate action intersect. Mangroves are one of the most powerful natural climate solutions we have. They absorb around 6 tons of CO2 per hectare per year, while also doing so much more. They protect shorelines from erosion, reduce storm surge impacts, and filter runoff and pollutants to improve water quality. Ecologically speaking, they provide breeding and feeding grounds for aquatic wildlife and birds, making them a vital biodiversity hotspot. Mangrove restoration in the UAE has seen a rapid progress, with the government pledging to plant millions of mangroves by 2030. This initiative highlights how restoring a single ecosystem can simultaneously deliver benefits for carbon sequestration, climate resilience, and biodiversity conservation. All right, now then, let's take a look at what we want to achieve. Our work with Chalhoub focuses on building a corporate biodiversity strategy that aligns naturally with the group's sustainability and net zero goals. We're approaching this in 3 phases. First, we're mapping biodiversity risks and dependencies across Chalhoub's raw material supply chains. Next, we'll look at benchmarking current certifications and eco-labels against international standards. And finally, we aim to design a clear and measurable biodiversity target that fits within Chalhoub's wider ESG strategy. The goal is to create a practical roadmap from awareness to action that supports real, measurable progress. Now, to take the strategy robust and meaningful, we need your input, basically. We're launching a short online questionnaire that will collect sourcing and certification data from across the organization. It's designed to be easy to fill out and widely accessible. For this reason, an online platform will be used to distribute the questionnaires, which will soon be made available to everyone interested in partaking. In parallel, we'll need to conduct interviews with selected volunteers to understand more about the local or complex biodiversity impacts. The interview is designed to take no more than 30 to 40 minutes, conducted in a very relaxed manner. Together with the sustainability team, we will try to select suitable candidates. However, if anybody in the audience wants their voices heard, please feel free to sign up. These 2 steps will give us the data we need to build KPIs, fill current data gaps, and improve Scope 3 disclosures. This process is key to making sure the final strategy is based on real operational insights. Now, I want to outline here with you the takeaway topic of today, which is participation. And here's how to get involved. The questionnaire will be made available by June 30th, and you will get a link soon from the sustainability team once we finalize the logistics behind. Interview slots will be made available through early July, and you will also receive guidance on how to sign up for those of you who are interested, basically. We'll use this input to create a benchmarking report, expected sometime by the end of July, which will support Chalhoub's disclosure goals and help track progress over time. We really encourage everyone to participate, as it is a simple step that has a long-term value. Well, this was our final slide, and thank you for your attention. And we're looking forward to working together on this exciting journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. We look forward to working with you, with all our partners. This is a very important survey for us. Will give us a lot of insights, and this is an important effort for biodiversity, decarbonisation, and for us at Chalhoub, we'll continue to make it a priority. So there's some action points I will share with you with all our partners at the end, but you will receive the survey, and we are really looking forward to receiving some volunteers. So as we come now to the end of the session, and thank you so much everyone for being with us again today and staying with us up to now. So first, we want to keep this dialogue going. Okay, we've it's the second session of our supplier engagement program. We are happy to work together on piloting sustainable projects and co-developing tools to enhance our environmental performance. We also would like to continue working together to find streamlined process to exchange data, which is absolutely key to our impact. And since the launch of the first supplier engagement session that we had with you, we were able, thanks to this session, to increase the quality of our data. We invite you to fill out the biodiversity impact survey shared by Robert just now, which will be sent to you by email. So it's a small step, but with a very meaningful impact. We are offering a free one-to-one advisory session through our partners at Schneider Electric. And thank you again, Farrukh and the whole Schneider team for doing this. So these one-to-one advisory sessions are designed to help you assess your brand's maturity and identify practical steps for decarbonization. So we also taking it as an opportunity for Chalhoub Group to engage with you further and on our own joint agendas. Right? So to explain how to book your session, I will now hand over to Nenad Obradovic, who is with us online. So Nenad has been working with us for a long time. He's a sustainability consultant at Schneider Electric. And thank you, Nenad, for joining us today. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And yeah, it's a pleasure working with Chalhoub and seeing the decarbonization journey and really putting a lot of effort and a lot of good work and also results coming out of this work. So one of these results, it's also like, as you mentioned, free session that we are offering to your brands. And I'll just share my screen for a second and show you how you can book your session. Sessions are for next week, and they are, of course, complementary to your brands. And idea is that unfortunately there is a limited time. So I would suggest to ones who really would like to apply to do that as soon as possible. And we'll also share the link. It's relatively simple. You will put your name in the beginning. So let's just try it. So you put your email. I will just cheat it out here. Function. Okay, I cannot cheat it. I will need to put my email. What function do you present in your organization? So you can put what is to your role, name of organization. Let's put like this, and what product does your organization primarily sell? So you can put a couple, and you can of course put other. And so far it's very easy. You're very used to it. And then here you can book your sessions. So let's say you're interested in the decarbonization strategy. You will book a session, and here I have a dummy one. So this one is already pre-selected previously. So if you see it gray, that means it's already taken, so you cannot book slot for that one. So you can book, for example, this one. Or if you see the calendar, you will have also other days that you can check. And again, click on appropriate one and select. Also, I would suggest checking the time zone, as we know that you're working in all different time zones. So be free to select appropriate time zone for you. And as this will be more in a Q&A and really to support and answer all your questions, we ask you kindly to provide us some guidance or actually what you would like to talk about based on specific topic that you pre-selected here. So we have the decarbonization strategy, science-based target initiative, product carbon footprint or life cycle assessment, and climate risk. So we have these 4 categories that we selected for you, something that is of interest for you and that you can apply for. So again, you fulfill data previously, select a strategy that you're interested in to develop or to have some questions to be answered by our consultants, select the date, and then put the question or comment that you have and submit form. After this, we will send you invitation for selected time slot. So that it should be relatively straightforward, and we will share links with you.
Thank you very much, Nenad. Thank you very much. And again, we'll send, again, thank you for Schneider Electric and the whole team for providing this, and we'll share all the, the link after the webinar. But thanks, Nenad, for being with us today. So we have time now for a few final questions. I know there was one in the chat from Stephanie asking if the customers were more interested in sustainability of products and stores, and if it was if it depends, this interest depends, it's linked to certain industries or not. I hope I'm getting the question well. I would say for us in the luxury industry, we see that our customers, they are an interest, and as you were saying, also coming from the younger generation. But I would say it's still an assumption that the brand is doing the right thing. And that's what we are always saying, I mean, as the customers. So yes, there's an interest, but it's also assuming a lot that the brand is doing the right thing. And in most of the case, of course, the brands are doing the right thing, but it's not an in-depth, I would say, questionings of what exactly the brand is doing. So that's for what we notice for us in our industry. I don't know if you.
No, I think for industries where there is an assumption or a bias in the mind of customers already, marketing and clarity will bring a lot of good. And I personally think that the right marketing and sustainability is missing in terms of what needs to be communicated. Right. Apart from giving claims, you need to describe how some of these products are more sustainable.
Yeah. So more on the education.
The education part.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of brands do it to benchmark themselves to be superior, but I think you need to do more education and awareness. That will help.
Exactly, more educational approach.
Absolutely.
No, I would agree with that. Stephanie, I hope we answered your question. Let us know. Is there any question? Is there any other questions you have for Farrukh, myself? A question for a question for you, Farrukh. Are you testing any innovative materials or technology?
Yes, on the technology front, we are testing artificial intelligence for ESG data platform. So we are working on that because a lot of those dashboards or reporting that needs to be done today can be automated through AI and can be more readily available on your fingertips. So we are working very aggressively on launching an AI-first ESG data platform. So there's a lot of work going on technology on that one. And we are moving from generative AI into agentic AI. What it means is a lot of those tasks we can train artificial intelligence to perform that certain brands would need, a certain type of reports are needed, or certain kind of task could be done. So we are moving to that direction. So watch out. I think our first version of that platform should be released, in the next 6 to 18 months. There's a time frame because there's a progressive rollout, but we really look forward to that. So that's something we're working on the technology side.
That's a major step forward because also, I mean, of course, the quality, accuracy, consistency of data, but also giving, I guess, the opportunity to more companies to do it because it's extremely time consuming with a possibility of non-accuracy, which is important.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm told final question and insight. Is there any final questions from the audience? We'll be happy to answer it. I'm guessing it can be also after the webinar, but I'm told that there's no further questions. So I guess we've been clear. So as we close, I really want again to thank each and every one of you for joining us and also to stay with us until the end. We hope we leave today with new ideas, new connections, and a sense of momentum. So we have the opportunity to shape together, as you were saying, T-Sport sustainability pathway, but a pathway which is also adapted for our region in a very practical, collaborative, and impactful way. So we'll follow up, as I was saying, with a short summary. The advisory session link, I think Nenad has already put it on the chat. and the biodiversity survey shared by Robert. So thank you again, and we look forward to working closely with many of you, and thank you a lot again, Farrukh, for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.